Allow me to repair the damage. My task is complete. The objective is now active.
Honestly, that was really good. Like, you're clearly not comfortable with the mechanics yet, and like that could have obviously been cleaner, but that's just a play a more thing. Run some Lucio Surf for a bit, and you'll be fine. Flanking around here with your diva, I was honestly a little bit dubious of at first, because generally speaking, you're going to want to speed your monkey in this comp. Diva has her own mobility, but monkey has such a short range that being able to chase people down or speed out of the fight and get away is really good for him. So I would be looking to do that for my monkey as much as possible. But you and your diva came around here and pinched, and it was really nice. And I think the way you do this better is instead of you going with your diva, your Echo should go with your diva because she also has mobility. So the four of you come here, diva and Echo clear this side, and then use it to pinch from behind like you did. That was a really good play. That was really smart. I was only there because I saw Sim at first, but they didn't get it to work. Gotcha. Yeah. We played a scrim with both of our tanks, and Pin is from an old team I used to play for it. Okay, cool. So your job, first off, Lucio is one of the most complex heroes in this entire game. He has a shit ton of jobs, and they all change based on the heroes on your own team and the heroes on the enemy team, as well as how well all of those people are playing and etc. So, like, to play Lucio at his best, you need to have a massive understanding of how all the moving parts of this game connect to each other and how they all affect each other. That said, there are some kind of simple guidelines to make playing him a lot easier until you have that level of knowledge and awareness. Because like there's a few primary jobs that you can just focus on for now, and the other jobs aren't going to become more important until you climb a bit. So, your four most important jobs. This is the simple version. I'm only giving you 4 things to do at the same time. Welcome to Lucio. I'm going to number these, but they're not in an order of priority because you can just do all 4 of these literally at the same time. And I'll show you how in a second. But speed. And I'm just going to leave it at speed because we're going to go real deep into this in a second. Scout. Pressure. And peel. These are your primary duties on Lucio right now. There's a whole bunch of other things that we can add onto this later, but like they're just going to mess you up right now. And a lot of those other things require a higher level of mechanical skill than you currently have. But keep playing Lucio, the mechanical skill comes. And then we can like add those on once all this is down. But this is enough for you to get enough value on Lucio. Because one of the things about Lucio is, other than speed, which is unique to him, there is not a single thing he does that another support doesn't do better. Full stop. You pick Lucio because of speed, but also because of his ability to multitask and do many different things at once that cumulatively add up to more value than just doing that one thing better. Cool. All right. Wait, no. Let me undo this. I still need this. What am I doing? What order should we talk about this in? You know what? I'm going to save speed for last. And we're going to talk about scout, pressure, and peel. Because that is all about your positioning. because Lucio can ride on walls, and the better your mechanics get, the more options they're going to give you because you can ride on walls and get super high up and do all kinds of crazy things. So, uh, if I were you right now in this exact situation, the way I would be accomplishing those three tasks that aren't speed is I'm up on this like wall and tree and corner, just sort of jumping up here, which keeps these guys in my aura. Lucio's aura lingers for 1 second. When you song swap, it takes about a second to swap, and when you break LOS with a teammate or they leave you, they still get heals or speed, whatever effect, for 1 more second. So you dipping below and back up is just going to keep whatever benefit you're giving them going. You could also, because of how far back the enemy is, you could also just chill low ground in this doorway, and that actually might be better. So you got your people in your aura, and now you're shooting. Lucio does legit damage. I don't want to see you ever hit reload early. Almost ever. You should just empty your clip into shields and tanks every chance you get. It's impossible to miss them, even from range, because even though you're like projectile slow, and it's consistent value that helps your entire team. You do 400 a clip, you can drop 400 damage or drop a clip pretty quickly. That's 400 damage into a shield. That shield breaks that much faster, which helps your team that much sooner. And like chunking down tanks, if you see squishies you can shoot, then by all means, but like non-stop spam. That's the pressure part. And then while you're pressuring and you're keeping your people in your aura, anytime you do reload, for example, take that opportunity to not just take cover, but to look around for flanks. If you can be, I'm not saying this would be where you would be right now in this moment, but just to give you more ideas, if you're high up on walls like this, Moira and Junkrat are still in your LOS, and you can see so much more of what's going on while keeping them in your LOS. And this is your scouting. You look around constantly while your folks are in your LOS, and you spam constantly. And then your scouting catches out a flank, sees that somebody on your team needs help, and then that's your moment to drop and save the day. You use your boop to boot people away, speed to get teammates out, heals to top them up after they're out, because you can't out heal anything. You will save people far more often speeding them into safety than trying to heal them up from the damage they are actively taking. Yeah. And that brings us to the last bit, speed. When to amp speed can get really complex sometimes, but the simple version is when people want to move. The easy version of knowing when that is whenever a team hard commits to a fight. Ultimates go off, they hard press W in a neutral fight, whatever. They have committed to the fight, amp speed. Almost by default, almost just as a reaction. You hear the voice lines of ultimates going off, and you just hit amp and speed. Over time, you'll develop the awareness to know when there's those like niche cases where you can just save it. But the vast majority of the time, your team either wants to move in to follow up on their own ults, or they want to get the fuck out to avoid the enemy ults. So amp speed instantly, and you'll save the day a lot. Otherwise, when no one needs to move, being on a lot for healing, you notice? Yeah. So amped healing can actually be really strong in the middle of a fight. It's 150 heals to your whole team, but it's definitely not as much as Moira or pretty much anyone else outputs. What healing does do for you that is very strong, it does two things for you that are very strong, actually. It builds your beat a lot faster, because, like, yeah, it's slow healing, but just soaking up all this little bits of chip damage coming in from the poke while no one needs to move, and you're healing up several people at the same time, so it all adds up, and you get hella ult charge off of it. So you should actually be heal botting a bit, or you should heal bot in the poke phase when no one wants to move. Heal up that chip damage, build your beat. Once the enemy starts getting close, people have to move, whatever, then you're going to be speeding more. Otherwise, like I said, speed will almost always save them better than your heal will, because it'll get them to safety and then you can heal them up after. If your entire team is critical, though, amp heals. Absolutely amp heals. Your entire team is critical, now none of them are. Well, maybe a tank still is, but like 150 heals times 5 people in 3 seconds is an insane amount of healing. It's fucking massive. Lucio should absolutely amp heals, but only in those situations where you are healing multiple people who are critical and will die without it. What does the botting part mean in heal botting? Set it and forget it. Your brain power isn't going towards whatever your song is on, or even watching necessarily your team to see what they need. You're just on heal song vibing while you do other things such as scout and poke, because you know that you just will not need speed right now. They're all the way over here. When they get in this room, then you need to turn your brain back on, at least as far as your aura goes. Because you're no longer just soaking up chip damage to build your beat faster. Now people might need to move. They might suddenly hard press W with their Lucio. Or your team might want to kite back or whatever. Sorry. And the other big thing that your heal song does that is just highly underrated and basically never talked about, it changes breakpoints. It takes, in a lot of cases, not every case, but in a lot of cases, if you are on heal song, it will take 1 extra shot to kill somebody than it would have otherwise. Enemy Ana has to 4-tap someone instead of 3-tap someone, just as one example. In high ranks, focus, like really high ranks, focus fire is good. People will all shoot the same target at the same time and you just blow up. So like, changing that breakpoint didn't actually matter. In lower elos, though, there isn't a lot of focus fire, and people miss a lot. Like, just straight up not as mechanically skilled. It's fine. But if they're missing, that means that changing that breakpoint is actually massive. Instead of taking 3 shots to kill someone, it takes 4. But those 4 shots actually took 6 to land because you missed 2 of them. So now it actually takes the 7th shot to kill them. By now, you're dead or they're in cover, I hope. Like, if you can tunnel vision on somebody for that many shots, there's other problems. So your heal song can be really strong in that regard. It will save teammates from being surprised by a flank sometimes. It's a good reason why in low elo, you should stay on heal and swap to speed, rather than stay on speed and swap to heal. And there's just like a different way of looking at your aura that will change as you climb. As you climb, speed is going to get more and more important, and your heals are going to mean less and less. But for now, especially, heal more than speed, and you'll be helping a lot in gold. And probably even in plat. Sounds like it's going to be a long as VOD. I actually, this was it. That was it. That was the primer I wanted to give you on Lucio. Those are your 4 jobs that you're doing at the same time. You got people in your LOS so you can speed whenever, while you're poking and looking around and peeling for whoever needs peel, because you're looking around so you can see it. And then better mechanics, specifically wall riding mechanics, will allow you to do all of this even easier, because you'll be able to you won't just have to find the one spot where you can do it all. You can move around very quickly. You know, you're spamming. Oh, you got to reload, so let's catch this wall, look around. Oh, there's nothing, whatever. I'm back here in like a half a second because you're goddamn lightning. So yeah, definitely play some Lucio Surf. work on his mechanics, because they're the least important part of your job by far, but they open so many doors for you and make all your other jobs easier. Okay, now we're going to go back to your play. I'm probably not going to talk too much about those things that I just explained, because I'm not expecting you to do them. You didn't know them yet. I am going to call out every single one of your amps, whether I thought it was good or bad. And I'll tell you why, because it's a 12-second cooldown, and your amp timings, are one of the single most important and difficult parts of your kit. As far as, like, getting them flawless, it's very important that they're good, and it's very hard to get them good. So start thinking about that shit now, and I'm going to, like, point them out. So first things first, you wanted to speed your monkey back. Honestly, this one could have gone either way. You can either amp speed first like you did, because your monkey... go get your monkey, turn around, and just use your passive speed to get him back. Because then by the time you get back, you'll have your amp cooldown again, which is really good. On the flip side, if monkey especially was like all the way back here, you might want to save that amp, let him jump however far he's going to jump, and then amp speed to get him back here way sooner. Your speed stacks when you're jumping, so you don't actually need to amp your own speed with good enough mechanics to get all the way up here in like 0.3 seconds. But monkey, once he doesn't have his leap, he's slow as hell. So there are cases where you're going to need to get him to the front line sooner, and then you should amp speed when he's in it. If you don't need to get him to the front line sooner, then amping speed first gets you your cooldown back faster.
Going. Yeah, time to heal up. No time.
In that case, I think that was fine. So you see your... Woo. Now we're going to see just how fast Lucio can be. Like, all the different things you got to look at. Oh, shit. Did you see it? I went back too far.
Oh, turn it up.
So you do this. This is all great. Taxing is a great job for you to do. I am the fuck on these walls, and I'm getting up here. I'm not... Let me show you what I'm not doing. This is an important distinction. I am not going here, where they can shoot me to. I don't know who the fuck is here and how many. I just know that my Echo is in some serious trouble. I go here, and I get her in my LOS, and I otherwise hug this wall as she comes out, and I try to speed or heal her out to safety if I can. Maybe you can't, but like catching those things very quickly and jetting your ass over there to save the day, that's the peel part of your kit, part of your job. And then even this, I would just, now Junkrat's up there, hit these corners, and vibe on this wall next to him. You still got your folks in your LOS. You could hop over here. Actually, this would probably be better in this moment. Play on this wall, because you can write it forward to shoot them, write it backwards to break LOS, and you're helping your entire team right now. And then you can always, like, get out along walls or down or wherever, because you are just infinitely mobile. Wait, that's not you. That's you. Cool. Yeah, I get the being up on walls is going to be difficult and uncomfortable for you for a while. And it's actually not entirely necessary. But it's going to make everything else you do just so much easier and go off so much faster and better. You'll just have so many more options to do whatever the hell you want to do.
Check this out.
Cool. That was nice. Oh. Actually, no. I'm going to wait to show you something. There's a boop spot on here that I'm going to show you just because it's fun. It's not, like, an important part of anything, really. It's just really fun. Okay, yep. You were just a hair late on the amp. So let's watch this. All good, all good, all good. Now, the second that Reinhardt ran forward past his team, he's committing to this fight. He's engaging. And now my team needs to move. Chase him, or fight these guys, or wherever they need to go. You did amp speed. It was a good amp, but like, getting the reaction times up on him is going to be really good too. And then, yeah. Oh, you swapped to heal because you were low, actually, so that was fine. Cool. Oh, here it is. Okay, you kind of know it, actually. This window, fun fact, you don't have to go through it. If you hit your boop right here, this person dies. Your boop has that range. It has a longer range than people tend to think. So, and then they don't see you coming, so they can't really avoid you. If you know people are coming this way, or like retreating out that way, do almost exactly what you did. Pop out and boop, and then drop back down to the point. Don't go out there where they might be able to kill you. Stay where you're safe. But hitting the boop out that window is... They just so rarely see it coming. Actually, let's talk about... Oh, never mind. Never mind. So, I was going to say I wouldn't have amped that. But the reason I wouldn't have amped that is so your Moira could build ult, but your Moira already has ult. So if your other support doesn't have ult and you do, and you have the luxury to allow them to heal up your team, you should let them build their ult. But since you both have ult, then sure, heal the monkey up. Though I would be careful about when you're going to have that cooldown back. Oh, you'll have it back in plenty of time. Never mind. Great amp. Okay. I'm going to demo a little mechanical trick for Lucio. Whenever you see an inside corner like this, while spamming your jump key, look at one wall, then the other. Spam your jump key, look straight up, and just turn wall, 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 wall. And you just shimmy straight up super fast. And it makes climbing up like that way easier than trying to do it this way. Cool. But you get up there. I like this. I love this. That right there is one of the bits of Lucio that I chose to not talk about this time. Booping people into your team is a massive play, and doing it like that is such a good and safe way to do it. They have to walk through this door. Or, I mean, you know, they could flank around here, but you get what I'm saying. They're coming out here. They cannot possibly shoot you here, and the first person through that door is getting booped out. So good. Also look for opportunities to use your speed. Sorry, I need to make this music stop. There we go. Use your speed and wall riding to get around behind the enemy team. So you can boop them into your team while continuing your momentum into your team. If you have to 180 to get back to your team, you lose all your speed, and it makes it a lot easier for them to kill you. So, yeah, sitting like this where they can't get to you, or flanking and coming from behind them so you can continue your momentum along the walls back into your team in safety. Those are the two IMO best ways to go for the boop plays. And if you feel confident doing them, by all means, you can start doing that right now. It's huge. I just didn't want to give you, like, too many things to think about, you know? But if that's one you already got, great. I feel like I'm already giving you too many things to think about, but... Alright, scrim mode, so this might take a bit. Oh. Okay. Okay. A couple of things. First off, good job taking White Room. Uh, Pretty much always, this is where you want to take this fight and where you want to hold. Um, if you are doing TP and Lucio, depending on the TP strat, you either amp speed out of spawn and then you TP when you get to your wherever you're TPing from, or you TP out of spawn and immediately amp speed from the TP to get you to here even sooner. You didn't amp, you guys still get here first, but running a brawl comp the way that you are, if you guys can get the forward positioning here and force them to have to fight through this tiny ass room through you to get out, you just gave yourself a massive advantage. So especially on like control point maps where both teams leave the spawn at the same time, getting there first is really, really good. It's the only time you should ever amp heals out of or amp speed out of spawn is control point. Get your team there first. And then yeah, with the sim TP, just know when you need to amp and amp right before or right after. Yeah, I noticed that from watching it over by myself. Cool. Yeah. You're spamming. You're a little bit in open space here. Ooh, actually, that was a... Okay. Two things about this. Right here, you can die. Right here, you're doing the exact same thing, and they can't fucking get you because you can jiggle peek. Like, they shoot you once and you're good. So differences by inches like that actually are massive. Second, you want to go for this boot play right now? I'm into it. You hit this corner into here, come around, and I would not go through this tiny room against all these people. I wouldn't go through them into my team, but I would just go boop and then back out I go along the wall. Rather than, like, being up here is great, just like that other boop was great, but they see you coming and they can kill you or do something different because they saw you coming. Coming from behind them makes you sneaky, sneaky. Oh. Nice. And then just be careful about booping people away from your Reinhardt when he's trying to swing on them. Like, you guys cleared everything anyway, but you did boop the junk away from your Reinhardt rather than into him. Makes no difference in this case, but it's something to watch out for. Cool. Yep, spam that choke. Oh, let me show you a little trick about spamming. So, you want to make the choke as narrow as you possibly can. So, in this case, I would probably look to spam at an angle here. This is a little bit better of an angle. Actually, maybe I would go here. I feel leery being here because you're pretty far forward and you have to cross open space to get out. So just know that this is a little bit risky, and it's more about, like, the idea here is I just made this choke very narrow. There is one place for me to shoot through, and it crosses the entire doorway. So as they come through, they get hit by my spam. A little trick. Versus spamming straight down, and then they can just stand to, like, either side to try to avoid it. Good amp. You guys needed to get there first. And you just out-rotate them. Excellent amp. Out of curiosity, because it can go either way in scrims, are you calling speed, or is your main tank calling for you to amp? Because if you're the one calling these, like, your instincts are really good. Cool. Awesome. You're, like, most of what I've seen with your amps, it's like a difference of a second or two one way or the other, and not that like the whole idea was wrong. Uh, okay, yeah, that's often how it works. Like, uh, Ryan can say, "Hey, speed me in" or whatever, but usually you're calling your amps. Uh, Amp timings, I feel like, are one of the harder things to get people to really get a good sense for, and you're starting there. So that's actually really, really good. Because, I mean, I said it before, but amp is just straight up the best part of your kit. It's the most important part of your kit. Cool. So, uh, hmm. Yeah. Nobody really needs healing right now. They aren't moving too much, though. So I think right now I just save amp. You don't need amp just yet, and you might need it soon. You don't because this tire is massive, but like, uh, this was, I think, your first bad amp that I've seen. Uh, you just didn't need it, and you might need it soon. I panic press Q here since I didn't see who ulted. That was the other thing I was going to talk about is hitting your beat a little bit too early. Uh, actually, let me see you drop this. Okay. Wait, is that? Oh, that's your sim wall. God damn it! I tell you, the colors always mix me up. They don't even have a Symmetra. Never mind. Uh, okay, it's a bad beat. It's fine. Like IMO, it is if you are unsure, it is usually better to use your beat than hold it. It just gets you started building your next one sooner, and sometimes waiting to assess means people die in the interim. So, and then you just VOD review it later. So, yes, objectively, this was a bad beat, but I am glad that you were unsure, so you chose to beat rather than be unsure and look around and wait for people to die first. So, in that aspect, I like that. That was good. Um, oh, right. Just a little bit of Lucio tech. I'm trying to avoid giving you like all the niche tech because there's just a shit ton, but this is a really good one to know. Your beat, it takes, well, actually, two things about the beat. It takes about a second to drop from level ground, but if you hit your beat onto a kind of low high ground, it goes off sooner because it goes off whenever you touch the ground. So going from a low ground onto the high ground, up some stairs, onto the cart, onto the payload, gets your beat off faster. And that's a really good one to know. And then the other part is in addition to the casting time, your beat has a half-second channel time. Once it drops and you see the green wavies coming out, uh, it's casting for half a second. And if you drop your beat here, for example, and do this, BAP and Lucio in, or well, you're the Lucio. Your BAP gets your beat because you wrapped around the corner while it was casting, and that applies to shields too. If this was the enemy sim wall, you hit your beat like here as your momentum carries you through to the other side, and you get both sides of the sim wall, and you get everyone. Massive, massive plays because shields block your beat. Uh, whoop. Cool. Yeah. Uh, honestly though, so for all also that I said you wasted your beat, does he even touch? No, they don't even touch. Uh, I guess. Is anyone on your team tracking ultimates? Monkey Ryan? Okay, cool. Um, so technically speaking, in like, I guess let's just say like in a typical high level team, which I get that you guys are not and you don't have to be, but uh, it is specifically Lucio's job to track ults because of all your scouting around and just seeing everything that's going on. It's easier for you to do that than pretty much anyone else. Uh, a general guideline is just assume that people get their ultimates every other fight and then adjust that based on the things you have observed. Oh, that Ryan has just been swinging through all of us. He probably got Shatter soon or got Shatter fast. Versus that player that got picked early twice in a row, he probably still doesn't have ult. So you adjust from there, but just assume every other. The other reason it's really important for you to track ultimates is your beat. At the very least, you don't have to track every single ult. That's the other mistake people make. Decide which ones are important to you and track those. You personally don't give a fuck about the other Lucio's beat. You don't care about Cole. You don't care about Minefield. You care about Shatter, because if the Shatter goes off and you don't get shattered, which is why you should be on walls. If you're up on walls, you just can't be shattered. Your beat can save your team. High noon, if people are caught way out, your beat might buy them the time they need to get to cover before high noon's charged up enough. And then the big challenge is Tire. Because you need to be real careful trying to beat Tire that he doesn't just kill you or kill people just before your beat goes off, because he can just detonate it then. But if you see it coming, you can hit your beat, and either he detonates it after your beat goes off and wastes it entirely, which is great, or he then tries to stall out the Tire and move it around places, like wait for your beat to end, and that buys your team time to break the Tire. This one is the least value of the three that give you value. So I would personally be looking to use my beat in case of a Shatter, and otherwise paying attention for this high noon. Because, like, these three ultimates could have potentially flipped this fight and they take it back, and your beat can flip that. Totally doesn't matter because you guys just wreck the Ryan and they never get the touch anyway, but yeah. And the other thing is, if you know that you don't have anything you need to save your beat for, that means you can use it aggressively, or you can use it for sustain in a mid-fight, which I think is a really strong way to use beats. Knowing you don't need to hold on to it can be just as important as knowing you do. Alright. Grim modes, man. Okay. Did you go for a pee break here? Oh, you don't have to go for the rollout here. And again, work on your mechanics. And this is one of the hardest rollouts in the game, is the like fancy one going up and through here. But this rollout has an easy version. You don't amp speed yet. Or, I mean, I guess you can. You amp speed out of spawn, you hit this, so you're going fast. And then, here's the tricky part. You hit the inside of this doorway, and use that to hit the edge of this rock, and that carries you to here, which carries you to here, through here, and then you just sort of go, whoop, bah, over this, like, you can kind of like pop up over this wall and boop them and drop back down, or whatever. You don't need to go for the boop play yet, but it's really fun. I don't even know. I was mostly just showing you, like, that's one of the harder rollouts for Lucio, but there's a really easy version that, especially in ranked, and especially in low ranks, can very often get you some early picks, and if you do it If you don't int at the end of it, then there's no cost for it, and just a potential advantage. And you're still amping speed out of spawn, so your team's still getting the majority of your speed. I almost love that. Sorry, we're getting, like, nitpicky things here. You're with your team. You go through this doorway. And you start messing with this dude. And your mistake is going here rather than going outside and around. Because no one can shoot you while you come through here. And you can either come up through the door if you want, or just straight up come behind your team. Crossing open space like this can get you killed.
Push on.
Cool. Went for the boop, didn't work, whatever. Oh, that should have been a speed amp because you guys are chasing the kills. And then you can, like... Another thing to know about amp is you don't have to do the whole amp on one thing. And in fact, it's often best, even with heal amp, to start or end on speed. Like to speed them out and heal them up with the end of it, or heal them up and then let them speed in with the last of your amp and get like a little bit of speed there. Good amp. Dang. You guys are just rolling these kids. You also... I want to point out another good habit of yours, because I don't want it to go away when you get good Lucio mechanics. And that is, when you amp speed, you don't run in front of your tanks. Because with even mediocre mechanics, your speed stacks when you jump off walls onto other walls. So you just get faster and faster and faster and faster. You shoot straight past your team if you just hold W when you're amping, because everyone else is holding W, yeah? And Lucios have a habit of just running past their team and dying. And you don't. You stay relatively behind them and push with them. Just don't lose that when you have the mechanics to run away, like, to get past them. Alright. And, like, reloading a little early, whatever. Just try to maximize the spam output. Like, you can be spamming that right now, and should be. Even when nobody's there, just keep shooting the doorway. Yes, you did it! I was going to be one of your primary jobs against Dive is to boop that monkey's engagements, and you just did it. You can completely fuck up this monkey's entire day just by watching him and booping his lead. Stand on, like, right on top of whoever you think he's going to want to jump on. If you have a Zen or an Ana, that's a fair bet, etc. Maybe he's going to try to jump on your Moira here, because he doesn't really have anyone diveable. Hit it. Oh, you lived anyway. Beat is dubious. A dubious counter to Diva Bomb. Beat gives you 750 shields that start degrading immediately. Bomb does 1,000 damage, which means 950. Squishies still get killed. You are using your own. It's 93%, and yeah, you'll end up wasting some beats, but it's better to use it than wait and find out you should have. Be just like 10% more free with your beats. Like, don't just waste them, obviously, but yeah, so beat won't save a squishy from bomb, but it'll save your tanks, and it'll save any squishy that isn't right next to the bomb, like you.
This is gonna make you feel better.
I see that. I assume it's gonna land like here-ish. I'm here, and like you're in the middle, which means it's hard for you to catch a wall and get to cover, which is why you don't ever want to be in open space. So you hit your beat, and it carries you to here, and then you probably survive the explosion and just get booped back over this way. You survived the explosion anyway, but I'm actually kind of surprised. You survived it with like 50 HP. No, sorry, 10 HP. Yeah, and actually going out that way would have been fine too. I think they're about equidistant. But yeah, if you see the bomb coming in and you are unsure if it's going to kill your team or not, you might want to beat it. Unless you know for a fact you need to beat for something else, like a nanoblade or whatever. Cool. Yeah, dude. I mean, you guys just fucking rolled them. It's kind of funny because, like, it seems like you already know or have very good instincts towards a lot of the more difficult parts of Lucio. Uh, Getting your mechanics up, obviously, is going to help you a lot. But Scrim 2.5? I sort of wonder how that's going to go, actually. Like, after watching this, I think that's probably going to be fairly evenly matched for you all. I think you guys should be scrimming low plat right now rather than other gold teams. IMO. But, yeah. Trust your amp instincts. Just pay attention to your amps and, assess. Because some of them are off by a couple of seconds, or some of them still aren't great, but most of them are very good, actually. So just trust your instincts and assess. Beat when you're unsure. We might bring that back the other way later, but at least to start with, anytime you're unsure, beat. Getting your awareness up means you'll be unsure far less often. So look around more. Be places where you can see what's going on. Yeah. Who the rotations of the players are since tanks and supports rotate? Gotcha. Okay. Well, I guess this iteration, I think, could be scrimming low plat, and that would be fairly evenly matched rather than scrimming gold.